The Lake of Stillness. Far away from bustling cities and noisy towns, hidden deep within the folds of a misty valley, there lay a lake so still and clear it seemed like a mirror to the heavens. It was known as the Lake of Stillness. The villagers who lived in the valley believed the lake held a quiet magic, one that could calm even the most restless of hearts. The stories of the lake spoke not of great adventures or legendary heroes, but of something much gentler, the power of stillness, reflection, and renewal. The lake was not easy to reach. The path to it was unmarked and winding, cutting through dense forests and over hills scattered with wildflowers. Along the way, travelers would have to cross bubbling streams, climb over moss-covered rocks, and listen to the whispers of the woods. The journey itself was as much a part of the lake's magic as the destination. Those who returned from the lake often said they felt changed, lighter, as though the lake had taken away their burdens. One chilly autumn morning, a young man named Elias decided to make the journey. Life had grown unbearably heavy for him. He had recently lost his job and with it his sense of purpose. His dreams, once so vivid and full of color, now seemed distant and unreachable. Each day blurred into the next, filled with worry and self-doubt. Even the things he used to love, music, books, the laughter of friends, had lost their spark. Elias had heard about the Lake of Stillness from a kind old woman in the village. She had spoken of it not as a place to find answers but as a place to rest one's heart. "The lake doesn't solve your problems," she had said with a gentle smile, "but it helps you hear yourself more clearly." Elias wasn't sure what he was looking for, but he knew he needed something, anything, to break free from the weight pressing down on him. He packed a small bag with some food, a journal, and a warm blanket. As he set off, the air was crisp and cool, carrying the earthy scent of fallen leaves. The trail began just outside the village, winding through a grove of tall birch trees. Their golden leaves fluttered in the breeze, creating a soft rustling sound that seemed to welcome him. At first the journey felt easy. The path was gentle, and the morning light painted the world in warm hues. But as the hours passed, the trail became steeper and less distinct. Fallen leaves covered parts of the path, and Elias found himself having to trust his instincts. Occasionally he would pause to catch his breath or sip from his water bottle, listening to the sounds of the forest around him. The deeper he went, the quieter the world became. The chirping of birds faded, replaced by the soft rustle of the wind through the trees. It was a kind of quiet Elias wasn't used to. A silence that wasn't empty but alive, full of subtle sounds and gentle rhythms. Around midday, he came to a small stream. The water was crystal clear, tumbling over smooth stones and reflecting the sunlight in tiny sparkles. Elias sat by the stream for a while, letting the sound of the water fill his mind. He dipped his hands into the cool water, feeling its refreshing chill, and for a moment, he allowed himself to simply exist, free of thought or worry. As the sun began to sink lower in the sky, Elias finally reached the lake. The sight stopped him in his tracks. The Lake of Stillness was more beautiful than he had imagined. Its surface was perfectly smooth, reflecting the sky with such clarity that it looked like another world. The clouds floated both above and below, and the golden light of the setting sun bathed the entire scene in a warm, ethereal glow. The edges of the lake were lined with smooth gray stones and tall, swaying reeds whispered softly in the breeze. A single wooden bench sat near the water's edge, its wood weathered and worn but sturdy. It seemed to belong there, as though it had been waiting for him. Elias walked slowly to the bench, his footsteps crunching softly on the gravel, and sat down. For a long time he simply stared at the lake. There was no rush, no need to do anything but be. The silence here was profound, wrapping around him like a warm blanket. As he watched the still water, something inside him began to shift. The constant chatter of his thoughts, the worries, the self-criticism, the endless what-ifs, grew quieter, replaced by a sense of calm he hadn't felt in years. Elias closed his eyes and breathed deeply. In the quiet, memories began to surface, not the painful ones that had haunted him lately, but the gentle, comforting ones. He remembered the laughter of his younger sister as they played in the fields, the way his father's voice carried through the house as he sang old songs, and the warmth of his mother's hand on his shoulder when he felt uncertain. The lake seemed to hold these memories for him, as if it knew exactly what he needed to feel whole again. It wasn't that his problems disappeared. They were still there, waiting for him beyond the forest. But in this moment they didn't feel so insurmountable. He realized that he didn't need to have all the answers right now. Sometimes it was enough to just pause, to breathe, and to let the stillness remind him of who he was. The sun dipped lower, casting the lake in shades of deep orange and purple. Elias felt a pang of sadness at the thought of leaving, but he also knew he couldn't stay forever. The lake's gift wasn't in staying. It was in carrying its peace back with him into the world. Before he left, Elias knelt by the water's edge and placed his hand on the cool surface. The lake rippled gently at his touch, as though acknowledging him. As he walked back along the trail, the memory of the lake stayed with him. The quiet strength of its stillness, the beauty of its reflection, and the warmth of its embrace were all etched into his heart. From that day on, whenever life felt overwhelming, Elias would close his eyes and picture the lake of stillness. He would hear the soft ripple of water and feel the calmness of that magical place. And no matter where he was, he knew he could always find his way back to the peace it had shown him.